everyone, it's the English Simmer here. It is taking everything in me not to talk about this, but instead today I thought we would talk about a different type of merch, because obviously in the last Sim Summit Behind the Sims we actually got a look at some merch that the Sims team were planning. However, after a deeper inspection into that merch, I really don't feel like it's the merch that we're gonna be getting in their very first drop. If you missed this news, they're re-kicking off Sims merch. Now, we have had Sims merch in the past. Recently, we had the Threadless store, which I will hold my hands up and say I never bought anything from it because I heard a lot of reviews from a lot of different people that their quality just wasn't that great. And that's kind of what you come to expect from like a lot of these merch companies, where things aren't done in-house, you know, it doesn't have like the full like design team behind it. And I think that's a real shame for The Sims, because I genuinely think this franchise that has spanned over 20 years could do so much with their merchandise. Now, in this video, I'm not really going to be talking like brands or collabs I want them to work with. I've already done a video like that. I will like link it here, and then I'll also link it at the end of the video, because I too would like The Sims to collab with a lot of different brands that already exist out there, and I think it is a huge missed opportunity. But today I just wanted to go over things that I personally would buy if they actually introduced it to the new Sims shop. Now, of course, I want the usual. I want the t-shirts, the hoodies, the jumpers, cups, bottles, hats, like all of those things are okay to me. I am a collector first and foremost. I've grown up surrounded by collectors of music, collectors of furniture, so it's no surprise that the collector in me is screaming for better Sims merch. But when it comes to jumpers, you lot have put me in the incredible position to be able to attend events that EA have hosted, early access, and usually whilst we are there, we either get to peruse the EA shop or they actually create some promo material to give us as gifts whilst we are there. So some of the stuff that I'm going to show you today has actually been gifted to me by the Sims team in the past, and this is the kind of merch I actually really like and do wear. I would prefer it if it weren't a zip hoodie, but that's just my personal preference. This looks super dark on camera, but it's actually like a forest green, and it's obviously the Brychester logo. It's a zip hoodie, and I wear this in my day-to-day life. It's subtle. If you didn't get the reference, then you would probably have no idea what this was, and that's the kind of merch that I like. For example, I'm literally wearing a Taylor Swift piece of merch right now that says "You heard the rumors from Inez," and while sometimes, yeah, I want to show off that like I've been to a tour, so like here's a big tour poster with like her face on it, sometimes I do like the more subtle things where people are gonna walk past you and they're gonna be like, oh, I like that jumper, what does it say? And then be like, what the heck does that mean? And then of course I feel like this one is a flex. I feel like this is pulling out my Taylor Swift cardigan, but this is the Sims 4. I have worn these so much. I have worn these to death. Like, I'm shocked this hoodie itself doesn't have holes in it. This is actually a top llama hoodie. I have a Freezer Bunny one as well for the Sims Mobile. I adore this. It's embroidered, it's small, but it's still like, oh, if you see someone like out and about wearing this, you're like, oh my god, that's so sick. Like, where did you get that? And it has a little plumb bob on the hood. The unfortunate thing is these were made for the development team and then gifted to some of us Simmers, which I think that the whole community deserves to get hands on merch like this. Like, I firmly believe that Simmers would love to cozy up on these or wear them out and about in their day-to-day lives, like whilst you're running errands. And I think it's such a shame that they don't lean into that more. I also think they could do smaller, more wearable designs, smaller items. So for example, I am a big collector of pins. I love collecting a pin wherever I visit. If I go to different locations, I love having them for the RNLI. I'll pop into an RNLI shop and therefore I'm donating whilst I'm buying a pin. I genuinely have a plumb bob one that, again, I was gifted whilst I was over on The Sims Sparked because they had them in the EA shop and I was like, oh my god, I need one. Enamel pins are so sick, and I feel like you could do Freezer Bunny, you could do Tragic Clown, Cow Plants, like there are so many enamel pin designs out there in The Sims. Jewelry, you could do little plumb bob earrings, a little plumb bob necklace. You can make them cheaper, so you could do like plasticky ones, or you could do like higher end ones with like like silver and gold, and I genuinely think that Simmers would go out of their way. There's been unofficial stuff that I've seen that I'm like, oh, I'll keep that in mind, like might buy that in the future. And I do feel like The Sims has an opportunity to work with smaller designers and creators and artists. I already know that the Sims team have bought a lot of these mini little cow plants from Cottony Socks. I know I always mention this whenever I record one of these videos. Simmers go wild for these things. And you know why? Because it's like some of the only like merch that people can just have as a little memento, as a love for their favorite franchise. Work with Cottony Socks. Work with the artists that you've hired to diversify your art within the game. But obviously, I personally think the biggest inspiration should come from the games. We have 4, and if you include like the spin-offs and My Sims, there's even more to choose from, where your artists literally create some incredible designs, and I know Simmers would absolutely jump at the chance to be able to have some of the art that they see in The Sims 4 actually within their games. I haven't taken everything from the game that I feel could be merchandise, but I have drawn a lot from it. So for example, these came with high school years. They are like old records that have been painted, and they also have like this void critter one over here. I love this little mushroom one. We've got posters upon posters. These from Realm of Magic are some of my very favorite items that have ever been created in The Sims 4. The little death flower one, like I relate like the death flower to The Sims 4 so much because I use it an awful lot. And I just think having those up on my wall would be so sick. We have some more like generic posters. Obviously, you got the big llama flag that came from high school years. Movie posters that came, I'm fairly sure, with like City Living. Even more recent edition from the kits. I chose this conglomerate of photos because of this one down here, which is the mother plant. Like there's literally so many sick things that you could sell like posters of or art. More recently, the Modern Looks kit. I know that Zarela was so proud of all the work that her and the team put into that kit. Imagine having physical pieces of that. This is something that I want in my future home. This section right here, I want to have like a cursed video gaming wall in my future home. I've mentioned this at any given opportunity, but I specifically really want a cow plant school. I don't know how I'm gonna acquire one. I feel like I'm gonna have to pay someone to like make one, if that's even a possibility. They literally stole my idea and then put it in Horse Ranch, but we can't buy a physical version of it. Now, don't get me wrong, this is not all gonna be the same price, you know. This like sculpt of a cow plant school would not be the same price as a poster if they were to sell it. It should definitely be accessible to most age groups, and also incomes, geographical locations, because we all know that most of the time those currency splits are absolutely not fair. But like I have a Sims 4 fidget spinner that I literally got from the EA shop. I've also forever wanted a tragic clown painting. I freaking love this man. There's also the little cow plant school out of Werewolves, the skateboards from Parenthood. This is honestly my magnum opus. Are you kidding me? They could sell postcards of like all Sims worlds that we've had in the game, from Sims 1 all the way up to The Sims 4. I would be so down. And then you know what would make it even better? If they then started selling the little like postcard like notice boards, cork boards that we have in the game. This one specifically is from Jesse's pack. You might have seen a couple of Simmers. I know Lil Simsy has these. I personally have these as well. We were sent these years and years ago when Sim Guru Drake was on the team. And these are the collectible posters from City Living. And I actually think collections could play a really big role in merchandise. I've actually pulled some out that I think would be very cool. Obviously, if you play The Sims 4, it's very likely that you've played Animal Crossing at some point in your life. You've simped for one of those animals, okay? Don't make me feel like I'm alone on that one. Shino can still step on me. Leave your Animal Crossing crushes down below, I dare you. Imagine if they sold the Void Critter booster packs. This is something, again, that I've wanted to make myself personally, because I would hands down collect these. Like amiibo cards that Nintendo do, obviously these wouldn't really have a function. We have the Simmy capsules from Snowy Escape. These kind of look a little bit like pop figures. There's also a couple that came with University that look like pop vinyls, which I know I said I wasn't going to mention brand collabs, but I feel like I just have to slip that one in there because I have been wanting that for the longest time. We got the collectibles of the little My Sims figures, which if you know me, you know I absolutely adore My Sims, and I would kill to have some My Sims figures. And they could even go the more traditional route, like imagine a feckin' 12 pixel Bella Goth. I have a painting up there of the Sims 1 Bella Goth setting a fire. That is one of my most prized possessions. It's a canvas oil painting that I bought off Etsy years ago, and I love it. The little snow globes that you can get in City Living. Again, I would honestly cry if I got to own these. The little gnomes that we're used to seeing within the game, they could make like mini figures of them. Like, I'm just gonna show you on my desk right now. I have this random one of Max from Stranger Things. I'm not even the biggest Stranger Things fan, but I really like Max. I also really like surprise bags. And when I go into a shop and see Stranger Things surprise bags, yes, I did feel for a good 15 minutes to find her skateboard. And guess what? I found her. I will say I'm very good at surprise bags. So Sims team, if you're thinking of adding them, watch out. The Realm of Magic familiar orbs. And then you could go even like higher end for those people who are fully grown adults and have disposable income. Definitely not thinking of myself there. But imagine if they started creating like cookware that you have within the game. That's the thing. It doesn't even just have to be like toy things or fashion things. They could genuinely make so many different objects, especially gameplay objects. Imagine them creating the puzzles that your Sims can do now in growing together, but you yourself got to sit at home and like do that with your family or friends. You could match your Sims if you're into yoga and buy yourself a matching yoga mat. This is something I think is such a sick idea, but a Sims themed chess tables. I feel like chessboards are such like a staple of getting your logic skill up. They've been around since, I'm fairly sure, The Sims 1. Like, they are a go-to in the Sims franchise. Imagine if the chess pieces were pull-ins of Sims. Like, imagine the king and queen were Bella and Mortimer Goth. Then you could have cow plants as maybe like the pawns, because when they go over, they can like swipe people up. Again, if you wanted to match your Sims, you could buy a crochet box or a knitting basket that kind of resembled the ones that we have in the game. This is something I now really desperately need in my life. It's not even a want, it is absolutely a need. But don't wake the llama in real life. Like, imagine if they took the board games that we have in The Sims 4 and made them into real life things. Obviously, they're not gonna get away with Sabak. Like, Disney and Star Wars own that. But I definitely feel like you could do Don't Wake the Llama. It's original to The Sims 4. I absolutely love that idea. I personally know that I would get so much use out of that. Are you kidding me? Instead of playing Jenga, I would play Don't Wake the Llama. And it's kind of weird saying all of this because obviously these items are like very much inspired by probably real life items. This probably was inspired by Jenga or the little monkey game where you pull like the slots out and the monkeys fall. Tumbling monkeys? It's in the name. But The Sims can also inspire real life in their merchandise. I genuinely just think there's so much untapped potential, even in this small amount of assets that I have right here on my screen. Honestly, represents the game really well, has personal connections to Simmers, and also just would look freaking cool. And just really quickly to wrap up this video, I want to talk about why I don't think the merch that they showed off is the merch that we are going to get. Now, this one is the outlier. I personally think we could get this. It looks like a backpack. It honestly looks like a camping backpack. So I don't know whether they've just stuffed this with like other merch that they're maybe thinking of creating, but this is like a strap down here and it's like rolled over. Like, this has the essence of a backpack or a sleeping bag, which I think a sleeping bag would be weird. Like, yeah, you could definitely recreate some of the sleeping bags that we have in the game. I don't think it would be a bestseller though. I feel like I've grown to know the community over the the last like 10 years that I've been making videos. They may just prove me wrong in the comments though. It does have a little disclaimer at the bottom though that says merchandise is currently in testing as they may contain traces of cowplant, vampire, and werewolf DNA. Side effects may include slurred Simlish and the inability to woohoo with your neighbor's partner. I truly think they were trying to get Simmers off the scent. Also, if you're gonna show like a product in the dark, like a jumper isn't the most interesting thing to show in the dark because you can't see the design. It just looks like any old generic jumper, even though I desperately want the Christmas jumpers from CreatorSim. I know I haven't really talked about that, but I do also think that there's a lot of inspiration that could come from CreatorSim. I have wanted them for so long, and when they said that this merch could release later in the year, like around the holiday season, I was like, give me that Christmas jumper with the freezer bunnies on. I would simply pass away. This is where I think they start getting to the bits where they were like, let's just throw Simmers off. Very quickly in the Sim Summit, I was like, I have no idea what this is. On deeper inspection, this looks like a curled up leaf, which of course they have mentioned like may contain traces of cowplants. So it makes sense that they were trollers with like a leaf. And then this bit over here is that's a thumb. That's a fingernail. That is disgusting, first of all. That's not going to be on the merchandise, obviously. That's like someone being eaten by a cowplant or something like that. It looks like a little trophy of a cowplant. So I really do feel like they were trolling us, and I'm so mad that I didn't click onto that earlier. I imagine the Sims team watched my reaction video and were cackling at me being like, what is this? What is that? And then this one also, go girl, give us nothing. Those are kind of some of the ideas that I would love to see when it comes to merchandise. Plushies included. This is one that I made for myself pretty much when like The Sims 4 came out. I made this a very long time ago. It's a little freezer bunny plush. I think I picked this up when I was at EA Play. It's a little Yarny. I absolutely love Yarny. Obviously we have these in The Sims 4 Nifty Knitting, so could kind of tie in to Sims merchandise. I don't feel like they would get away with that one. A plushy Plum Bob, a Plum Bob pillow. I could flippin' go on. Sims team, if you need me in the room for like any tester products, if you need someone to like bounce back ideas from, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Hop on a call. What would happen if you just called the Sims team up? I genuinely feel like Simmers are one of the biggest demographics when it comes to like geolocation, age, how long you've been playing the game, like activities that you're into. Like we literally range so much. So I would love to hear what you lot would like to see as merchandise. Thank you all so much for tuning into this video. I hope it was enjoyable. Honestly, I love getting to talk about these things, as you all know. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you agreed with any of my ideas, subscribe if you aren't already. I talk about The Sims a lot if you hadn't noticed. And please do not hesitate to leave all of your merchandise ideas for The Sims franchise down in the comments below. I want to hear it all. Bye now.